This week I'm kicking off a video series. I'm like so excited. It's called the 4 P's. Get it? P's? No. Anyway, they are plan, purchase, prepare, and plant. This week I'm going to be talking about planning. Hi, I'm Robin. Welcome to Robin's Container Garden. In last week's video, I talked about how I harvested a whopping 23 kilos, about 51 pounds of veg from my garden last year. So, although that was a surprise, it wasn't an accident. Any successful garden takes planning. So, I'm going to show you what and where I'm going to be planting in the garden this year. So, come on, let's go out to the garden and I'll show you my plans. So last year, I planted pumpkins around the base of this arch, and I had cucumbers containers on the inside. But I'm planting both of those this year, but in a different part of the garden in the ground. This year, I'm going to be planting Blondy beans in the ground on the outside of the arch, and in containers on the inside, I'll be planting the dwarf purple queen French beans in the containers. They did really well in containers the year before last, so I'm going to try them again in containers this year. We love them so much. So this is the east side of the house. It gets the morning sun, and it gets, in the summer, it gets a little bit of the afternoon sun as well. But it doesn't get tons of sun, and it doesn't get terribly hot. So that's why I'm growing what I'm growing around there. So now we're coming around to the back. Now last year, well, I've still got the setup that I had last year. I had a courgette here and over there, so you can see they are split apart. So the plan is for this year is to continue to grow courgettes around here because they did really well out here last year. Although I'm going to just have the Striato D'Italia around here instead of the Ambassador. We like the Ambassador, but the Striatos actually just really put on the fruit last year and did very, very well. So we're going to be putting them back here too. In addition to that, we're going to be putting them closer together. I'm also going to be growing all my greens around here this year, like my kale, spinach, and chard, because even though this gets light in the summer, it is a little bit cooler than it is on the west side of the house. So this is the north side of the house. So it does get light in the summer, but I think the greens will be better off here. Potatoes will again go back here. Ignore all that stuff over there. We've had some winds and we're trying to clear some stuff out. But anyway, they did really well this last year, and although we had winds, they still did really well here. Now this year we're having tons more potatoes. We really loved having the fresh, lovely potatoes from last year. So instead of doing 2 first earlies like I did last year, I'm doing some first earlies, which are the Pentland Javelin, and I'm doing some second earlies, which are the Kestrel, and I'm going to do some main crop, which are the Picasso. And the reason that I'm doing that is because we want to kind of stretch our potato harvest into the autumn and maybe even save some of our own seed potatoes. Everything else will be going here. This is the west side of the house. It gets the most sun and the most heat during the summer. The house actually reflects the heat, and it actually increases the heat on the plants back here. But we're having tomatoes, we're having peppers, we're having carrots, and oh, the sun's going behind a cloud now. But everything else that we're growing in containers is going to be around here in the back of the house. I'll come in because it's kind of getting a little bit windy out there. So we are actually going to be growing more flowers this year. I had tons of marigolds last year, but I'm planning on doubling them this year because we definitely need more pollination around the north side of the house, especially to help with the courgettes and their pollination. Now you may ask, why am I doing it this way? I journaled everything last year. I journaled when I planted seeds, when I potted them on, when I planted them out, when they flowered, when they fruited, how much harvest that I got from them. So I know exactly what did well and where. Now you hear me talk about planning a lot. So one of the things that I plan to do more this year than I did last year is harvest more. Now you may say that that doesn't have a lot to do with me, but it actually does. Last year we had a lot of cut and come again things like kale and spinach and chard, and we didn't use it as much as we should have, but now we're wishing that we had it. So what I'm wanting to do for this year is to work on harvesting. If we don't use it, then I'll blanch it and freeze it so we can use it later. I'm also going to be topping the tomatoes, the indeterminate tomatoes. Normally I just let them grow until they stop growing, but this year I'm going to try something new and cut them off when they get a certain number of groups of tomatoes growing on them. But I'm hoping that they will ripen more on the vine than having to force ripen them in the house on the windowsill or in a banana box. So I'll basically be stunting their growth on purpose, which is going to be very difficult for me, kind of like thinning carrots. But I'm hoping that it's actually going to help make the harvest even better this year than it was last year. The whole point of gardening is to get a better everything than you had the year before. So I want you to tell me in the comments, because I really want to kind of get to know you guys a little bit better. Tell me in the comments, what is the one thing that you're going to grow differently this year than you did last year? Or even if it's something that you're going to grow that you didn't grow last year. I'd love to know about it in the comments. So plan, that's my first P. I'll be talking about purchase in my next video, because once you have your plan in place, you'll need to purchase your seeds, your containers, and anything else that you're going to need that you don't already have for the coming season. So we'll talk about that in the next video. New year, new motto. Just remember, you don't have to grow all the things. Just grow something. Take care. Bye, y'all.